items. Speaking of a few items from the grocery store, has anyone been seeing all of the massive amount of store closings going on throughout the country? And some restaurants even. You got Wendy's, they're up here about to close, 350 locations or something like that? It's a high number, whatever it is. I have to relook at it, but Wendy's are closing some locations. Kroger's closing some locations. Why are these places closing? And why now? Makes you wonder, huh? What's occurring that they're not telling everybody about? Something's occurring. Something's going on. That's why if you don't have gardening skills or hunting skills, it's time to revise your skill set. Especially those who turn down that digital ID, NWO chip, if you will. Those who refuse that, you're going to be ostracized immediately. You are going to be public enemy number one. Those who follow Christ on a real level anyway, in spirit and in truth, the Bible tells us that you're going to be public enemy number one. The world hated Christ, and then they killed him. Allow that to sink in. The creator of everything, the Most High God, sends his son down here in human form to go through the birthing process, childhood, teenage years, and in adulthood. He sent his only son down here to show us the proper way, show us proper etiquette along the lines of spirituality, and then man kills him. You know, that's major. That's a major situation. There was legions of angels on standby once Christ was butchered and murdered brutally. I mean, just one angel alone, he defeated 70-something thousand soldiers in a night? That was just one angel. Imagine a legion of angels if God would have allowed them to come down here and strike those down who murdered his only son. Don't you understand how deep that is? And he still didn't allow it because things had to go in the manner in which they did for a reason. But it would have been light work. Matter of fact, they've got the technology from the heavens. I mean, it could have done anything. He could have sent rapid sickness like they did in the ancient Egyptian times. It could have been anything. Could have did anything he wanted to destroy those who murdered Christ. But yet he didn't. That's major. So, hey, we have got to do this in the right way. I mean, that's a terrifying thought. Because us being who we are, anyone out there can attest to this. You would be ready to wreck shop if somebody did anything to your children. And we're talking about the creator here, who sent Christ down here to be the example of good, clean, spiritual living. And then they butchered him. So just let that sink in a thorough and concise manner. And then all these people then taking the chosen one's title, and now they're twisting it into some self-glorification tactic, utilizing it to place themselves on some higher level than everybody else. They never talk about the Most High. They never talk about anything that's going to give you any spiritual substance at all. Not even on a human morality level. It's always on some narcissistic level of the equation. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And then it's like you got to realize who the true enemies are and who's the puppets being utilized. Most of those people, they've been put into these platforms to do exactly what they're doing, to try to derail those who love Christ, those who are really being persecuted for this and going through spiritual attacks and seeking answers out. Then these people will use oil slick terminologies to reel them on in under the guise of, you got special favor. You're powerful. You, and you again. Like, reality check. They killed all the prophets, they killed the apostles, and they killed the Most High. So I'm gonna leave that right there where it needs to be. How many people can say that they've got it in them? Are you willing to lose your life following the Most High? I am. Especially when one thinks about all the experience and all the things that they've had to deal with going through this life. In a second, in a heartbeat, because the Most High has been there with me through thick and thin. When with nobody else helped me, when with nobody else anything, because fear or arrogance crept into the equation. Whatever the matter was, no one was there, but the Most High was, and He was there, and He got you through the situation at hand. And you came out not only better than you was, but with more spiritual insight. That's why I can't stand the quote unquote chosen ones community. And not all of them are like that, but majority of them are. They live in this worldly, immaculate lifestyle. And then a lot of them talking about the women they with and this, that, and the third. It's like, man, you're up here willfully admitting to sin, sexual immorality. That's nothing light. When you have sex and then through the ejaculation process and this, that, and the third, that creates life. That's how talented the Most High is with His inventions, with His creations, that they can go out here and create other creations. That's major. They ain't nothing little, they ain't nothing small. That's a major situation. So, we got to be willing, ready, and willing to lay our life down for this, no matter what. So when they come, and then throughout the little 2020 campaign, the world has already pretty much shown you those who will cave to fear off of a mere mainstream fraudulent media narrative. And they will be entrapped in the enemy's snare, running and allowing these people to inject you with stuff under the guise of, we got to get ahead of this. We got to prevent the sickness from spreading. The Most High never did any of that. He incorporated all of the fail-safes that our body needs to fight off sicknesses and anything else. That's how creative our Creator is. He done gave us all the components that's required and necessary. And it don't cost you nothing. He put all the healing herbs and all the things here that we needed freely. And what has man done? Like man always do, through greed and corruption. Because he done bowed down and he's worshiping Samael, Satan. That's all Satan wants. He wants to be worshipped like the High. That's why their base is on the other side of the firmament up there. See, that's another secret that a lot of individuals aren't privy to. They already got these bases up there. He said he will rule from the stars. That's where they're at. When Christ comes back, guess where the first stop is? How's everybody doing? Guess where the first stop is on Christ's return? Up there on the other side of the firmament, where Satan has his kingdom at, along with they Nephilim, and then they genetically modified humans, hence super soldiers, anybody? And they really think that they're gonna win. Nah, that's Christ's first stop on his return, to deal with them up there. And then when he comes down here, deal with the kingdoms who wanted to follow him, who wanted to follow Samael. And it's gonna be complete and utter neutralization. The kingdom of darkness will be no more, obliterated, completely destroyed. That's what it is. That's where it's going. So, we really need to understand this and study it wholeheartedly and stop accepting these watered down narratives or stop accepting things from just anybody. People coming and claiming to be of the Most High, but then the first thing they doing, they want to say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. How y'all doing out there from Moscow and everywhere else? That's what they want to do. And it's crazy. They want to, it's already been proven that his name isn't Jesus. It isn't Yahuwah. It isn't Yahushua. It's Yeshaya. Names are very, 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 very important. You could be calling on a fallen deity unknowingly, and it doesn't matter if you mean the Son of the Most High God. All that is irrelevant. That's why it's imperative that an individual sits here and understands the names, understand the history and how these things came to be. When those watcher angels came down here and got them some booty from the women, that messed up everything. We're talking about way at the beginning of all this, when man was bigger. We were way taller at one point in time. Trees used to go 60 miles high in the air because you could go to the firmament. There was no separation like it is now. So he had to bring the flood, had to eradicate all that wickedness. Them giants started eating human beings, and then they had weird creations, your wolfmans and all this craziness. These Draculas, like, y'all better stop thinking everything is just movies out here or just for entertainment, because part of the spiritual laws, they have to tell us what they're doing, but they will never tell us in an accurate manner. They'll never do that. It's always going to be doctored up with a level of deception, clever trickery. That's all it is. It's all it is. So we need to We need to get it. We need to get with it. We need to stop holding ourselves to such high standards as far as the way the world views it. It's all about me, me, me. You gotta love yourself and self-love and all this wickedness. Then they want to call you a homophobe or some other concocted title because you're against all that sexual immorality. Like, it's crazy. And these are demonic spirits. People aren't born that way. These are demonic spirits from the Nephilim that have crept into and using these people. You know, we got to get back. We got to start casting these demons out. Some is more intense than others. That's why you have to fast and pray. But that's that when it says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, that's real. That is so real. And it's like, these are the phrases that don't get the attention that they deserve. Sitting up here and then acting like all these people are just, oh, well, he went psycho. Like, look at the Manson situation. And he wasn't even in the state of California during the time of those murders. So what else was the underlying theme behind it all? Of course, there was Satanism behind it. That's evident. That has already come out. But then you know that he was involved in certain experiments from your three-letter agencies. How many people are privy to that knowledge? And why are these said type of agencies, why are they always involved in these type of experiments? Experiments that always directly cross over into the spiritual realm. I mean, they use mediums and psychics, and these practices are forbidden by the Most High. It says it right in the Holy Scriptures. That's why it blows my mind with all these card readers all over the internet. They were sending card readers at me when I was in Dallas. Because they were trying to utilize certain magics, certain spells and witchcraft and voodoo on me, but the Most High wouldn't allow that stuff to touch me. So now they coming around, prancing around. And I seen when the whole society down there had just changed and crossed over out of nowhere. It was strange. And then so many people were, as I'm proving and showing the things that were unfolding, and then wondering why they acting like they're just so blind, that's because they were sent also. So you got to watch people acting like they there for you too, and will hit you with the whole Judas experiment. Hand you over to the slaughter for some kibbles and nibble bits. Like, for real. Man. Wicked times. So, Most High, He really loves us. I mean, we are in His image. But you know He's got to love us. He sent His only Son to come down here to be slaughtered by the same individuals in which He loves, to bring that level of correctness. Like, that's major. And people need to quit acting like it's not something major. But when it is, it's very major. Yeah, but these card readers, people practicing divination, all this stuff is wickedness. Don't ever seek counsel from individuals who are practicing these dark arts. It's not right. It's not of the Most High. Eventually, you will meet your demise following such practices, and that's trill. And it amazes me every time I do go to the store, it be the same vehicles with the same license plate numbers follow me every step of the way, and then they'll try to like duck back in the cut like they on their spy game, like they on their A1 spy gizzle, when they're not. Agents of ancient evil. That's what we're dealing with here. It's not flesh and blood. These people are out here on assignment. When I move, they move. Like all this going on up here, do not believe the hype. They've been in that same spot for a week doing nothing. Like doing literally nothing. These people right here masquerading as construction workers, they're not doing anything. They're spies on assignment. I don't have to make that up. I could take the time and thoroughly prove my allegations. I just don't have time to do that right now. I've got so many hours of footage on various people who are attached to this thing. And it's deep. It is so deep. We might think we're nobody to ourselves, but to groups of individuals who are, always got to meet in secret, secret oaths and secret pacts. Hence, remember the fallen angels? Remember when Lucifer took a third of the heavenly angels with him? That's influence. That's impactful influence. So these are the beginning stages of the Inquisition of such pacts and such oaths. Things that are forbidden by the Most High. So we gotta stop looking at things with human logic. We need to buckle down and get deep within the spirit, because that's what this is all about. That's why we need to fast more. I need to fast more myself. Like for real. Fasting, and it unlocks so much through fasting. It unlocks healing of the body, the spirit. I mean, it does a lot of miraculous things. But then you'll have good old Scientologist wannabes. They'll come along and they'll put their would-be level of human intellect on the subject matter, while failing to realize how flawed they really truly are. We are in for some times, people. You got people putting this type of money and resources into the spying of a few individuals. That's nothing to be taken lightly. It's nothing to be taken lightly at all. Especially when you can clearly see that the individuals aren't doing any work. They're just paid spies. Either way it goes. What's even more mind-blowing is how they think that they're slick when there's no slickness within them. I've seen a whole forest chopped down just so I couldn't get off to myself away from them without them, trying to insert themselves in my space illegally. So we got to understand it. It's deeper than just what these actions look like. These are agents of Samael, Satan. I mean, if we're gonna say that he's the ruler of earth down here, which he is, and everything within it, then we need to understand that all these resources and everything are accessible. Like I said, I've seen them chop down a whole forest just so an individual couldn't just go and hide and get away. They'll start flying drones that I guarantee no one has even seen. I've never even seen no hardware like this until this particular night once they did that. Blew my mind that they'll go through all of this just to keep a constant eye on you. It's nothing to be taken lightly at all. That's why I can't stand people to be like, oh, they can watch me. I ain't doing nothing wrong. And it's like, it's not about that. First of all, it's about respect. Not just inserting yourself into somebody's space against their will. Because they wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't like it either. So we need to remember these things for what they truly are. With that said, y'all have a very blessed day.